Hi students, so today I am about to discuss the topic square roots and cube roots. So square roots and cube roots, right? Square roots and cube roots. So what is this? Square roots and cube roots. So we are going to learn about this. Okay, so since this is the very first beginning that you are going to learn square roots, first of all, let's understand what is the square root notation. Okay, the square root notation. So this is the square root notation. This is the square root notation. Square root notation. Okay. So in our grade 6, we have learned the number called square numbers. Square numbers. So square numbers in the sense, square numbers are some number multiplied by its own number. For an example, 1 multiplied by 1, the answer is 1. Okay. Second one, 2 multiplied by 2, the answer is 4. Okay. Third one, 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. Like that, you can keep on writing 4 times 4, 16, 5 times 5, 25, 6 times 6, 36. Like that, you can go up to 10 times 10. No problem. You can exceed 10 times 10 also, 11 times 11 also, you'll get a square number. Now, students, when you are writing, make sure you write the answer of 7 times 7, 8 times 8, 9 times 9. Okay, so this is square numbers. Okay, we have learned square numbers. Now, what is square number, square roots? So what is square roots? How are we gonna get the square root? For an example, think of this square number which is 1. This is 1. Okay, if you put a square root to 1, okay, if you put a square root to 1, okay, the answer of this is 1. How did this come? Okay, now think like this, square root 1. Now instead of 1 putha, we can write 1 square, right? Why I'm writing as 1 square? Because 1 square is also 1. So this square and square root, this square and this square root get cancels and you get an answer 1. What happens? This square and this square root get cancels. These two get cancels and get the answer 1. Let's go for the next one. The next square number is 4. Let's take the square root of 4. Square root of 4. 4 can be written as 2 to the power 2, right? 2 to the power 2. 4 can be written as 2 to the power 2. And there's a square root here. So I put a square root. So what happens again? Square and the square root cancels. And you get the answer of what? Get the answer 2. You get the answer 2. Let's go to the next one also. Square root of 9. Square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3 square into square root. Again, square and square root cancels, you get the answer 3. Okay, like that you can keep on doing. I'll do the 16th one also. Root 16. Root 16 is 4 square, right? 4 square. Instead of 16, I can write as 4 square. So 4 square and the square root cancels off and you get the answer as 4. Like that you can keep on doing until 100. Make sure you should do this. Okay, square root of 100. Square root of 100 is what? 10 square. Square and square root cancels and you'll get the answer of 10. This is the so-called square roots. Hope you understand. Now, there is a worked example 1.1 in your textbook. Let's refer that one now. Let's refer that one. Work out square root of 100 minus square root of 81. So students, we have learned in the square root theory, square root of 100 is what? 10 square, right? 10 square square root. So what is 81? 81 is 9 square. 9 times 9 is 81. So you can write 81 as 9 square. Here see, the square and the square root get cancels off and you get the answer as 10. Here the square and the square root cancels off and you get the answer as 9. So what is 10 minus 9? The answer is 1. This is the answer. of the worked example 1.1. There's another example that they have given. Now let's go for cubic roots. Now we are going to go for the cubic roots part. Okay. Let's go for the cubic root part. Okay. So what is cubic root, students? What is cubic roots? Okay. Cubic roots. So cubic roots in the sense, okay, the symbol of cubic roots is you put a square root here and there's a 3 inside. What? There's a 3 inside. So this is called as cubic roots. Okay. Now I'll do an example here. Now we learned square numbers, right? Now to do cubic roots, Putha, we should be able to understand finding numbers multiplying by its own number thrice, not twice, it's thrice. Now see, thrice, okay, multiplying, thrice multiplying. So 1 times 1 times 1 is obviously 1. So let's go 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. Again 3 is there, 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 times 3 is what? 27. Again 4 times 4 times 4. What is 4 times 4 times 4? 64. Like that. 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is how much? 125. Like that you keep on doing up to 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1000. You keep on doing until you get 10 times 10 times 10. Okay. So what is this cubic root? Okay, now how to do this is cubic root. Okay, the cubic root part. See, 1 is there, no? 1 is there. So you can see there's 3 here inside and 1 to the power 3. Instead of 1, I can write as 1 to the power 3, right? And you can see here, this 3 and this 3 matches. If these two matches, Putha, you can cancel this off. Like in the square root part, here in the square root there was 2 there, okay, so you cancelled off, but in the cubic root you should have 3 both sides, okay, so you get the answer as 1. Let's go to the next one. Cubic root of 8. Cubic root of 8. Now first of all you are going to write 8 as 2 to the power 3, right? 2 to the power 3. Why? 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So again this cancels off, and you get the answer as 2. Okay, let's go to the next one. Root 64, and there's a 3 here. 64 can be written as 4 times 4 times 4. So 3, 4 to the power 3. So what happens? Here this one removes and you get the answer as 4. Hope you understand. I'll do the last one again. Cubic root of 1000. Cubic root of 1000. 1000 can be written as cubic root 10 to the power 3. So see here what happens? It cancels, right? Here you can see here this cancels, so the final answer is what? 10. So this is the theory part of cubic roots. Let's go for the worked example that they have given. Worked example. Okay, in the worked example they have given you root 64 divided by cubic root 64. Cubic root, here there's a 3 here, we call this as cubic root, here cubic root. Okay, now root 64, okay, root 64, since there's no 3 here, this should be a square root, right? So what is the number multiplied by its own number, you get 64. What is that answer? Do you have a number like that? Yeah, no. What is that number? 8 square. 8 square, right? Divide by 3. Now here see, there's a cubic root. Since there's a cubic root, you should write 64 as a product of the same number thrice. So what is that? 64 is 4 times 4 times 4. So it's 4 to the power 3. So what happens here? You can see here, this one gets cancelled, and this square root and this square get cancelled, and you remain with 8 divided by 4. What is 8 divided by 4, students? 8 divided by 4 is, answer is 2. So this is the answer. Let's go to the next one. There's another worked example that they have given. It's all the examples are in the textbook. Huh? Okay, when you are referring to this video, make sure you have your textbook with you. Okay. Now let's go to the worked example 1.12. Worked example. So they're asking, show that 9 is the closest integer to root 79. Okay, how to do this question? Okay, now root 79 is there. They are asking us to show that 9 is the closest integer to 79. How to do this? Okay, now you should find the closest square numbers which is less than 79 and more than 79. Okay, again I'm telling, when they are asking you to show that for any number the closest integer is something, what you are going to do, if they have given or else provided a number, you should find a square number which is slightly greater than 79 and slightly less than 79. So 79, in the sense, you can see 81 here. 81 is a square number, right? 81 is a square number. What is 81 square number? 9 times 9, right? It's 81. So you can see clearly 81 is greater than 79. And what is now 81 is what? 9 square, no? 9 square is 81. So what is 8 square, students? 8 square is 64. 8 square is 64. Okay. So this is the part. Okay. What you are gonna do? What you are gonna do now? We had found the square numbers of 79, which is slightly greater and slightly less. Slightly greater. This is slightly less. This is slightly less. Slightly less square number. Okay, slightly greater, slightly greater, slightly greater. Okay, now what we are going to do here, look carefully, you should find the closest number here. No, you should find the closest number. Now see, 79 and 81, what is the gap between 79 and 81? It's just 3. No, it's just 3. But here see, 79 and 64, what is the gap here? It's very high amount, right? 79 minus 64, the answer is 15. So look carefully, students. The gap between 79 and 81 is 3, and the gap between 79 and 64 is 15. So who is more closer? This 81 is more closer. Here, this is the closest number. Now what you are gonna do? Let's take the square root of all these numbers. Take square root of all numbers. Okay, this is the next step. This is the first step. Step 1. This is step 2. Okay, now make sure you write everything. I will be checking in the class whether you have written this note. Okay, make sure you write these notes as well as the examples, and I'll give you some homeworks to do after the theory. Okay, take square root of all the numbers is given. Now let's take the square root of root 64 and the root 79 and the root 81. Now the root 64 answer is 8, and the root 79, you don't have a square number 79 for 79, so you keep it as it is, and the answer of root 81 is 9. So you can obviously tell that since the gap between 81 and 79 is less, you can write that 9 is the closest integer. 9 is the closest integer. I think you have not seen this part. Now I'll explain it again. Okay, first you are going to take the slightly less square number, and the next one you are going to take the slightly greater number. Okay, and then the step 2, take square root of all numbers. Take square root of all numbers. Here, square root of 64, square root of 79, square root of 81. Take the square root of 64, you get the answer 8. Clear? Get the answer 8. And next one, the square root of 79, you don't know, you keep it as it is, and then the square root of 81, the answer is 9. So what is the closest number? 9 is the 9 is the closest integer. Okay, so this is the answer. Let's go to the another question that they have given in the part B. When you are writing the notes, students, make sure you pause the video and write. Okay, first you understand the theory part, and then what you should do is write it by pausing the video. Don't write simultaneously while listening. Okay, now let's go to the next question. They are telling, show that square root of 215 is between 14 and 15. They are telling to tell that the square root of 215 is between 14 and 15. Okay, they are asking to prove that. Okay, if they are asking you to prove that, make sure what you are gonna do. They have provided you with a number, no? Multiply 14 by 14. Let's multiply and see. 14 multiplied by 14. 4 times 4, 16. 4 times 1, 4. 4 plus 1, 5. 4 times 1, 4. 1 times 1, 1. So 6. 5 plus 4, 9. 1. So the answer is 196. Clear? Now since we have multiplied 14 by 14 itself, in the same way we multiply 15 by 15. 15 multiplied by 15. So 15 multiplied by 15, 5 times 5, 25. 5 times 1, 5. 5 plus 2, 7. 5 times 1, 5. 1 times 1, 1. So the answer is 7 plus 5, 12. 1 plus 1, 2, 225. Now you can see 225 and 196. See, 196 and 225. There is a small pattern in the previous question and this question now, students. See, the previous question you can see there was 64 and 81. Slightly greater and slightly less. Same way, they have given you the slightly greater number and the slightly less number. No, you have to just what? Write 196 is less than 215. Okay, and 96 is less, and 225 is greater than 215. So you can tell that the numbers 14 and 15. Therefore, so this is the notation of therefore. Therefore, the numbers lies between 14 and 15. Okay, so this is the answer. Okay, this is done. Let's go to the yeah. So the examples are done, students. So what you are gonna do is they have given you some exercises. To make sure you do exercises 1.6. Okay, question number 1 to 11. Yeah. So there are some questions exercise 1.6, 1 to 14. Make sure you do this. Okay, and then they are asking us to do check your progress. Okay, it's page number 30. You make sure you do the check your progress part also, so that we can start with the next lesson. When you are starting the next class, check your progress. Make sure you do both of these, as well as write these notes, understand this clearly, and then let's start the new lesson in the next class. Okay, thank you.